So I want to officially introduce Matt Mills. Matt, welcome to the Tuesday Live Show.
Hey, Jeff, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so you're out in LA. I'm out in Boston. So two different sections of the country. You're sunny and hot. I'm cold and wintry, but it's great to have you. And I'm excited to have Matt on. We've been working together, or we worked together. We just talked before we went live, and just about a year ago, Matt came to me and is like, Jeff, I need some help. So just to jump right in, Matt, I mean, tell us where you were in your coaching business when you came to me, and talk about some of the challenges that you were working through that you needed help with.
Yeah, for sure. So when I came to you, Jeff, I had graduated from IPEC in March of last year in 2017, and had already had some initial things going. You know, I kind of had a website and was working with some clients, not, just like a couple of, it was really just kind of starting to get out there. And then I really got to a point where something just felt like I needed some help and support, and knew that I couldn't really take it to the next level by myself. And there were things that just, it felt like I needed to put a lot of pieces together. I had all the pieces that were starting to come in place, and I just really needed some help and support. And so Jeff, I had come to know you through IPEC, through a couple of virtual conferences there, and then also discovered on your website, and pretty much everything that you were talking about was things where I was like, that's exactly what I need help with right now. And so I just reached out, and we started working a year ago. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, IPEC, that's a coaching school. I actually graduated from there back in '04, but some people are not sure what that is. So that's a coaching school that he got a certification through. Talk about, if you can remember, what were some of the things that specifically that you were struggling with? Because I just want people looking at this, listening to this, or, they're at different phases of their business. But talk about like, oh, yes, I couldn't, these are the things that I really struggle with, because these are things that a lot of people struggle with now.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think pretty much the analogy that I used when I went to come and see you was I needed to build the engine. I was spending so much time and energy on some of the smaller things. I didn't really know how to consistently have something set up to draw in clients. I didn't really have my email list set up properly. There were just like all of these things that just kind of felt like big unknowns that I was spending so much time and energy with. And so that was when I came to you, Jeff, I was like, I need to build this engine so I can get it up and running and humming, so then I can focus on doing other things that I wanted to do to grow my business.
Yeah. And in that engine, it's a good word. I remember talking about that specifically, is like figuring out like, well, who are you actually helping with what specifically? Because you kind of had it, like you said, you had your website up and going. I remember combing through it, before we even spoke the first time. And I'm like, oh yeah, he kind of has it, but it's definitely wasn't clear on your website.
Right.
And also it's like, well, how am I going to get out there, not only get out there in front of people on a consistent basis, but then how do I stay in front of them on a consistent basis?
Yep. Yeah.
So let's talk about, if you will, that niche, or that I like to call it that headline of helping who with what specifically, because I think not only was that a big thing for you initially in that clarification, but through the course of our work together, it was an evolution. Can I say that?
Yep.
Yeah. Talk about that journey, because that's important for people to hear. It's sometimes it's just like, oh, I'll work with someone for 1-2 calls, whatever it is. Next thing boom, here it is, and it's just like they run with it, and that's it. And we definitely got there early on, but there was an evolution over let's say the next 6 months.
For sure. So yeah, and that was definitely something that had evolved, and that you had really helped me to, over time, even to clarify, and where there was points where I was struggling with it. And so when we started off, it was really, I was like, okay, I'm helping people who are lost in their careers and they're getting clarity. And I kind of was starting off with that. And then I remember after a period of time, I was like, look, I'm keep doing, everything, and I'm getting out that message, and it doesn't feel right. It's not resonating with me as much, which it kind of affected how I was getting out my message, and it just didn't feel quite as authentic. And it just really wasn't resonating as much as I wanted it to. And so we, had talked through that, and then it went to a point where it's like, all right, well, don't feel like it has to be so constricted so that it has to be exactly, I have an idea. I wanted to help people in their careers, people who were feeling lost and stuck and wanted to get that clarity. And I think I had started with young professionals. Like that was really kind of the demographic that I was thinking. So I kind of broadened that out a little bit. And over time, it still has refined itself. And so now really it's the same. But what I'm doing now is it's helping millennials who are feeling lost, need that clarity, and want to find fulfillment and success doing work that they love. So it's developed over time, and that's okay. I think I felt not constrained. I felt stuck with it, and you helped to give me the permission to say, it's okay. Let's change it up, or not even change it, but let's just have it evolve a little bit and see where that goes.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing was when we were working together, we did one-on-one for a while, and then you joined my group program, the Live Sales Conversations program, to help as you started to get more leads. How do we, help convert those?
Yep.
And I think I've always noticed, there was this underlying apprehension with you, right? Where like, it's like you did all the work, like right out of the gates, like all the technical work and website, free offer, email list. I mean, like you were an animal, if I can say it like that. Like you like did all the work very quickly, and then we got you out there, and while you were doing the motions of getting out there and connecting with people, I could always sense, and I think you knew it too, like there's this like, underlying hesitation, I'd call it, right?
Yep.
And come to find out is, I know we had another one-on-one call later on as well, and it was just like, the quote, the actual way we had structured it, it wasn't like exactly the way you maybe had pictured it, because you were also doing a lot of face-to-face stuff and networking.
Yeah.
Talk about what you learned with that process of actually getting out there and having it be more fluid than just the one statement written in stone, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's a really important piece. Was that my approach? I'm in Los Angeles, and a lot of my target audience is here. And so I was getting out and really talking to people. And that's really when I started to notice what was hitting, what wasn't. And so that was when I kind of felt like I didn't need to just be the headline that was on my website. It really needed to be a lot of talking through with the clients. Well, what is it that you're going through? What is it that, what is it that you need that help and support with? And really, specifically around career. And I was able to, for myself, really try out what is the messaging that resonates and works, but then also listen to what they were telling me. And from there, that was when I kind of started thinking, okay, that headline, that what it is that I'm helping who do what has really helped to evolve. And so really it does depend on what it is that you're targeting. I know like one of the first things you ask is, are you primarily doing online, or are you primarily doing face-to-face? And ideally it would be a hybrid, but because primarily I'm hitting my target audience face-to-face, it was able to give me a lot of information to help me grow and evolve that.
Yeah, which is cool too, because at the end of the day, when you are face-to-face, your headline can and sometimes should be a lot more fluid.
Yeah.
Because, you're talking to different people in different groups. And while your headline gives you an idea of what groups to narrow it down to, so not like, oh, I'm just going to go to anybody, anywhere, any group, career-oriented, focused professionals, millennials, things like that.
Yep.
When you're there, you can be a little bit more open and fluid based on who you're talking to. And I felt like that gave you that freedom, like you said, to just feel comfortable talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're more than just what it says on your website, especially when you're talking to people face to face.
But the great part about you, Matt, which impressed me about you is that even though we hadn't figured it out, if you will, we figured it out,
Yeah.
enough for you to move forward, but not had figured it out to the point where you were like, oh, 100% like you found that groove that you just, ooh, this is it type of
Yeah.
thing. What impressed me about it didn't stop you. You still went out, you still did the work, you still had the conversations, and that was huge. You didn't wait behind the scenes, just like, oh, well, I'm gonna wait till I really feel good.
Yeah.
And that's what impressed me about you is you went out and did that. Talk about the structure that we started to implement for you, because when we started off, um, if I remember correctly, you didn't have a free offer. You had an opt-in, I think, just for your newsletter, or
And
but you
even
didn't have email going. You didn't use email. You didn't have a free offer. There was no ongoing communication with anyone in your audience to begin with. Talk
yeah.
about what we put together for you, because you've been super consistent with that over the last year.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that was where, as I said earlier, with that piece, that building the engine piece, was I had always kind of heard about this stuff. And, you hear all of these things from all these online marketers, like, you need to have that, you need to have this. And what you really helped with was putting together these pieces and just saying, like, here's what it is. You helped me get set up on Aweber is what I use for my email marketing. Having an auto response system, that was really helpful. Having the opt-in. And so also just the consistency with emails, making sure that I'm in front of my audience on a regular basis. And then also setting up the live events, which was on through my Facebook, doing it just a weekly live chat where I just got online, and every week it was talking about something different about my career, or not about my career, about career paths, and really kind of honing in on what it is that I'm targeting for that. So all of that really you helped me put into place. It was all of these things that where, with the email, now I have templates. I go on Aweber, and I can put out an email on a pretty consistent basis, on a regular basis. I have a schedule. So it's just like clockwork. So it's like forming those habits, so that it's not something that did feel like such a struggle in my business.
Yeah, like you have the structure for it, which is cool.
Yeah.
So you structure, like, how many times do you email a week?
I email out once a week now. And that was also something that, we also talked about that as well, starting off, well, do I do 1 email, 2 email, 3 email? And it was something that really just did evolve over time. You just kind of have to get out there and do it and see it and be consistent with it too. I didn't give up after 1 week and say, oh yeah, no, I did it 3 times and that didn't work. I would do it for a very consistent period of time. And then I realized, well, what's going to work, number one, for me, what's going to be comfortable for me, but then also what's going to keep my audience engaged. And so that's when I settled on 1 email a week.
Yeah. And that's huge, though. It's being in front of your audience every week, which is important to be online. And then your weekly show, you're doing the live broadcast from Facebook. And you number those, like, how many of those have you done so far?
So I have done, so it started, that was another thing that evolved. So it was doing it once a week. So I think I was doing it pretty good up for like 4 or 5 months. And then I switched it to a bi-weekly. And so to be honest, I don't know what the count is, but it's over the past year, it's got to be like well past 30 to 40.
I thought you were on that like 40 mark or so.
Yeah.
How was it, the transition from not doing any live broadcasts, not doing any, regular emails, to, okay, now I'm doing something pretty much every week, or now every other week, doing an email every week, kind of creating that content? Because a lot of people that I speak with, or when I start working with them, as I start helping them with their structure, it's like, oh my God, I just had a client this morning, and she's like, I just don't know, what am I going to say? The content, and the fear of just like, I have to do this every week. Like, how does that work?
Yep.
Talk about that, how the structures helped you get to the point where you can just do a live show or can write an email and not have to, freak out about it.
Yeah, right. There is some planning. Like for me, everyone's different. And, to be honest, for most weeks, I don't have it well planned out. I have a list of topics that I know that I want to talk about, and I'll just pull through whatever hits me that week. Really what keeps me going is that it's the accountability. I know I have this audience that I need to stay engaged with, that they do want to hear from me. And so it's just that accountability that way. And then it really is just that habit for me. It's like now if for whatever reason I don't get something out there, it feels off. It's just, it really kind of keeps me consistent, keeps me held accountable. And so, I'm really able to do it. It's just, you kind of just have to face that fear and go for it anyway. I know that's like, a common cliche, but it is true. It's okay. Everything's a learning experience. Not every post that I get out there, not every email is going to be great. Not every live video is going to be awesome. I mean, there have been times when I've re-recorded a live broadcast, like that was early days. And then now it's, I just I'm okay if it's not going to be the best that time. So it's more important for me to actually get it out there and get it done than if it's really going to be the most perfect broadcast or perfect email that's out there.
That's it, my friend. It's more important to get it done. And it's true that it's not a lazy answer. It's like, you just got to start doing it, so.
Well, and what's funny is, I think on our first or second one-on-one call, you were just like, get on live, Facebook Live right now. Just go for it. Like, when we hang up the phone, it doesn't matter. Like, just do it. Just get on. And I did. And it was the first time I was ever on Facebook Live. And, it was scary, but it totally made me feel more comfortable and confident doing it moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we start to pull this together, I just want to talk about one more thing too, and then we'll get people to your site so they can check that out as well. Yep. So we set the structure up, we set this engine up, if you will, talked about some marketing strategies, getting you out there. Now it's the point where now you started to, get some interest, some leads,
Yep.
doing stuff on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And so talk about because we worked in my group, the Live Sales Conversations group.
Yeah.
And talk about that process now. Okay, I did all this other stuff, and now I'm doing my weekly shows, I'm doing my emails, staying in touch with my audience, but now the conversation, the sales conversation, as I like to say, what was that like, starting to learn that and honing your skill sets around selling, if you will?
That was huge, and that was definitely something that the group really was very helpful with. You really helped to, especially when you get to the point with a potential client. First of all, that has its own system itself that you've really helped me perfect, be able to, how do you really kind of ease them in? But then it's also just having that conversation with somebody and really asking them, okay, what is it that you need that support with? Like, really able to go through, what does that sales call look like? So that made me feel a lot more comfortable as well, where at first just establishing that engine of itself of how does this system work? What is it that I need to, say on the calls? And then on our group sessions, really be able to go through, okay, here's actually what has happened on a call. How would I handle that? And really talking that through and talking through, like, what is it that if this person has an objection, or, this person didn't get back to me after they said that they were going to sign up, those kinds of things. So that was super helpful. And all of that I learned from those sales calls, I've been able to really, take forward, and it's been effective. I think, honestly, my close rate on my sales calls is pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah, it's good to see you feeling a lot more confident with it, because I remember when we started off, it's just like, where do I go with this?
Right.
And then, like, natural instincts versus is saying, okay, well, let's start to understand, where this person's coming from. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen that evolution. It's great to see that it's paid off for you in the sense of helping you convert the clients.
Yeah, yeah.
Where have you found to be your greatest source of leads from what you've done with the career stuff with the millennials?
Yeah, so it's very there's really it's like there's three different sources. One is referrals, which is pretty common. I have used LinkedIn Profinder. That was something that you and I had talked about, was where it's for anyone who's not familiar with that, it's essentially you sign up with LinkedIn. You can do it as a life coach. You can do it as a career coach. There's a lot of different areas where you can do that. Someone on LinkedIn puts out basically a query saying, I'm looking for coaching, and then you send a proposal to them. And then if they're interested, they'll connect with you, and then you have a call. I've had a lot of leads through that. And then a lot of it really is just face-to-face, going through networking events, speaking at some workshops as well, and really not being shy at those times, not being shy to just ask people, hey, do you want to get on a phone call? Like, do you want to schedule a time to chat further? You know, a big message that we talked about in our group work is that you talk about this, you got to hustle. You really do. You have to be aggressive. And not like aggressive is not really the right term, but you can't be afraid to ask someone if they want to talk further with you. You know, if you know that you can help them, then you just have to go for it. You just have to say, let's get on the phone and talk. And so honestly, that's just been the most effective way. It's just being direct and asking people, hey, I know you're struggling in your career. That's what I do, is I help people who are in your situation. Would you be interested in talking further? And most often they're always like, I would love that.
Yes, and that's exactly it. I remember the group call that we were on, and you and another client, you guys were talking about that aggressive word, but it wasn't aggressive, and then we said hustle. It was that hustle.
Yeah.
That was a big turning point for you.
Yep.
And you and that other person, girl as well, is like, it was like, okay, I've got to hustle. I've got to go after that business. I can't just sit around and just put a show out or put an email out or put a post out and expect people are going to come to me. I've got to hustle. I've got to create conversations. I've got to be proactive, interactive. And I remember in with the spreadsheets we've created, you know, in terms of getting out there, the conversations, keeping track of those conversations. You've done a lot of stuff, Matt, you know, like we talk about Profinder, and remember we started tracking all the conversations you started having, the results you were getting from those.
Yep.
So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into, you know, someone moving forward with it, but I've always been impressed with how you put that together.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's just one thing, other thing that I would add on that hustle piece is that it's never felt like a hustle, like you're selling somebody, because it really is a point where it's me saying to them, I really do care about talking with you further. So on LinkedIn, it's getting them offline and saying, like, we could message back and forth, but I really just want to get on the phone and talk to you and hear what you're doing. And I think as a coach that's super important. You have to really care about helping the client and talking with them further. And then all of that other stuff kind of feels easy.
Yeah, didn't have with the phone, because I'm a big proponent of pushing people, use the phone.
Yeah.
Hear you say that. As you start to wrap this up, talk about maybe some of the biggest benefits or value that you've received from, our work together and the mentor coaching.
Yeah. So, the mentor coaching, it was great. Number one, for putting together that infrastructure for me, where now it has really felt like that piece is easier, and I'm able to now take it to the next level. So, and you've been there with me when I've really felt like, hey, I need to push myself a little bit more. I feel like I've outgrown this part of my business. I'm ready to expand. You've really helped me through that. And I think that's been huge. And also the accountability. It really is true. Coaches need coaches, and you can't do this all on yourself. So whether it's a community, a one-on-one coach, a group program, whatever it is, every investment that I've made into coaching, I've gotten back. And so, it's hard to take that. Like, sometimes you don't know if you're ready to take that leap. You have to do it, because I look back, I've reflected back on where I was a year ago, and I would not be where I was now if I hadn't reached out to you initially and started working with you. It's taken me to the next level, and I now am able to continue growing, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And it's also what I like about it, it's the return on investment, like you said. It's not just a theoretical return on investment. Like there's actually been a monetary return on investment. Like you're getting it as a coach now.
For sure. Totally. I've honestly, I'm not kidding. Every investment I've made back through coaching.
Which is huge. That's the biggest thing about it. It's not just, I mean, there's working with a coach and it's like, oh, there's that theoretical, like the emotional return on investment. Like, oh, this is so valuable. I could never do without it. Yes, there's that too. But like, what I'm proud of and like I love to see with you is just like, let's work together because I want to get you paid. I want you to make back your investment with me and whatever else, multiple fold so you can start doing this on your own.